Base Case Season 2, Episode 39, Covey's Habit 1, Part 2. In Episode 37 of Covey's Habit 1, Part 1, I illustrated that I liked what Covey writes. And quote, "We are not our feelings, we are not our moods, we are not even our thoughts." The feelings, moods, and thoughts after I make a mistake when playing. A few years ago, I was playing with a group, 5, 6 horns, rhythm section, and vocalists, and we're doing the chicken. You know, like the way Jocko does it. If you're not familiar, check out Jocko Pastorius, the birthday album, and that's the one they open the set with. It's in B flat. It's got a really cooking bass line. Anyway, check it out. Every bass player needs to know this line. It may come up. So after one pass through the form, which I'm reading off a sheet, I shouldn't have been, but I hadn't done a lot with that band, and reading the sheet and the book made me feel secure. After one pass, something's up. Something's not settling in right, but then it rights itself. But after the next pass, it happens again. And after 3 or 4 times through the form, I go, oh, it's me. The last line on the sheet was somewhat chopped off. You couldn't really see it. You could see part of it, but not so much. And I'm completely skipping it. So basically, I'm skipping the last 4 bars of the form. And yeah, I stopped doing that pretty quick. And everything was all right. But I didn't look at the horn players too much because I felt kind of dumb. And one of the players later gave me a hard time on the break, and in a light way, he said something, and I said, "Oh yeah, excuse me." And that was it for me. It happened, and it didn't happen again. But my mood, thoughts, and feelings while it was happening, that's not me. The self-awareness that we have allows us to, as Covey writes, to see ourselves. I acknowledge the mistake and move on. If you watch the NFL, you've seen it. Place kicker misses field goal early in the game. What do? They start patting him on the back. They don't want him carrying that feeling around any longer than he has to, because they're going to need him later, and they don't want that in his headspace. You've got to eradicate these bad feelings immediately. You make a mistake, that's cool. If you don't get rid of him, it'll mess up the rest of your playing that set, that day, that week. You know, when I missed that last line in the chicken 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4, whatever it was, did I make a wild face, kick into the air, or maybe start screaming or anything? No, I don't do that. Did I do anything, make a face to need to show everybody that I felt bad about it? Pointless. I would just be taking longer to get back to my normal self. That's the circle of concern, like Covey writes. I have no control. I can't take that back, and nobody was injured. I had that last thing in about persons being hurt because I've got to ground myself. We're playing music. It's survivable. I'm interested in the circle of influence. I'll take a look at this chart and patch it up to make absolutely sure that this won't happen again. That's what I can influence. That's what I'm interested in, the things that I can influence, the stuff that I can do something about. Bass student was in my studio earlier this week. Wants to start soloing over changes. This bass player can groove over changes and hold up the band, but wants to solo more. Now, my first step into this is to play with the bass line. Just play the bass line and play with the roots and fifths that go along with it. If it's whether it's a walking bass line or a Latin bossa, just play around with the roots and fifths. It's a good way for a bassist to start entering the world of soloing. Lots of bass players everywhere rarely, if ever, take a solo. Some guys just do not solo. You know, it's difficult. The bottom falls out when the bass is solo, right? If there was walking, the walking is over and the bass player becomes one of the horn player, except without a bass player backing him up. So if you're playing around with the bass line, it's a safe way in. Now, your circle of influence is that baseline, and soloing using the baseline is easily in your circle of influence. What do other players think about that? That circle of concern. Push that out. Circle of influence is making that exercise sound good. Being proactive. I like what Covey writes. If we're working in our own circle of concern, we empower the things within it to control us. Other players and what they think about your soloing, you don't want that. The beauty in working in our circle of influence, and Covey says this best, you create a positive energy. By working on ourselves instead of worrying about conditions, other players, we are able to influence the conditions. I like the way Covey breaks down problems and where they fall into 3 types. Direct control. These are problems involving our own behavior. That's us dealing with our own problems. That's me dealing with the sheet on the chicken and going, hey, wait, don't do this again. Being proactive. That's dealing with it. Next time, I think I took the sheet and fixed it up. So just be careful so it would not happen again. The other 2, indirect control. These are problems involving other people's behavior. Those are hard to deal with. There's some strategies, and I might go over those in a subsequent podcast. And then there's the no control, problems we can do nothing about. It's windy out. It's making your music stand fly all over the place. You're just going to have to deal with it and smile. But no control, this is the one of a lot of interest to me. Accepting that some things are going to be the way they are, like that wind, that some people are going to be the way they are. Covey's words, quote, learn to live with them, even if we don't like them, and learning to recognize them. These problems that we have no control over won't be able to control us at some point. If you have questions, email me at phil@basecase.co. I'll talk to you soon.